Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dr. Emmet Emery Sr. You Better Stand Your Watch, Leader and Leadership Podcast. Today I have a guest. It'll be Zoom because she's tuned in all the way from Colombia. She has property in Colombia as well. It's interesting the background that she has. She in her own business, by the way. We share some things about entrepreneurship, and the unique thing with her is it's a dual business with her and her husband. So we're going to get into that and talk a little bit about tech, technology, leadership, and a little bit of storytelling as well. My next guest next week, we're going to get more into leadership and storytelling. Oh, welcome. Looky. This is my book. I've been having good sales with this book. I'm still promoting this book. Buy my book. It has 2 volumes. Volume 1 is English. Volume 2 is Spanish. It's about leader and leadership. You better stand your watch. Leader and leadership in the workplace. It looked nice. It looked real good. Okay, I'll say it again at the end of the shift. At the end of this podcast. Purchase my book. Miss Rosario, tell my guests who you are. Talk about yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Emmet. Well, I'm Rosario. I'm a Latino background entrepreneur. I did many different things in my life. This is like my 3rd stage. The first one was in the public sector. I worked with in anti-corruption for some years. Then I was chief of staff for a Colombian first lady. And I was very close to decision-making in a country like Colombia at that time. Then I switched career and I entered the financial and consulting world. And I created a company to advise foreign direct investment. And I worked in finance and foreign direct investment for some years, landing operations and landing investors into Latin America through Colombia. And back in 2013, one of those clients was acquiring a Colombian company, and it was a Silicon Valley big data and artificial intelligence company. They came to my office, and at the end, they offered me to be their global CEO, and that's how I started being in technology. The CEO was the CEO of a Silicon Valley company in big data and artificial intelligence. And from there, I realized that technology is a real way to scale solutions. I went deep into technology and I moved from managing to product development, became myself a developer. And right now I do 3 things. One is BC Partners Tech, where we are the technical team for non-technical founders, building software for them. The second one is XR Americas, where we are building immersive realities and spatial computing software for education and training. And the third thing is we have Brooklyn to Bogota Digital Transformation Community, a program for Hispanic small business owners on digital transformation, scale, mindset, and leadership.
So you focus more on women and Hispanics?
Yes. Because I'm a woman and in Hispanic, and I had issues growing up, building businesses. I need to support the world that I know better. But I also volunteer with organizations with other demographics, of course.
And your husband is your partner?
Is my business partner. Yes.
So is he supporting men and Hispanics?
And he's supporting everybody, but also women and Hispanics.
Okay, all right. So
that's cool.
Now, this next question may be very difficult, but I need an honest answer from you. Who's the boss, you or your husband?
He is the boss.
He must be listening to this podcast.
No, you know something funny? We met each other working together in the presidency of the Republic of Colombia. We were part of the team of the First Lady at that time. And I really think that the relation started because of admiration of the other's professional work. And when he left, one day he called me and invited me to lunch, and then the relation started. But I really think that as we met working together, we know where to give the space to the other one.
Yes.
Like each one shines where they should, where is the space to shine, and the other supports, and the other way around.
Yes. So how you end up in New Jersey?
I moved to New York, really.
New York. I'm sorry, New York.
New York, no, but that's perfectly fine. That. You know, the reality is that all the area is like the same environment, not for New Yorkers, not for natural born New Yorkers, but I really think that the environment and the richness of the mix of New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, all that area is an economic environment. Okay. Really, I arrived there because my husband was appointed to be a consul of Colombia, so I did the sacrifice for love to move to New York.
Listen to you.
I know, and then I started the technology business there.
Is he still working for the consul?
No, not anymore. No, he left. He finalized his appointment in 2019. And when the pandemic started, he was looking to take a sabbatical, but the pandemic started. So I was like, you need to be my business partner now because we need to make this through the pandemic. And that's how we started being business partners, really.
So you still do business in the United States as well as Colombia?
My businesses are only happening in United States, in New York environment. Yes, our business is a U.S. business based and in the U.S. environment.
Okay. So you did speaking.
Sorry for interrupting. In Colombia, what we do more is like volunteering, speaking and presenting at events with younger developers, with younger entrepreneurs, like giving back more than business.
So you're doing a lot of training and development in Colombia?
No. Well, yes, but not as a business, as a volunteering, as a giving back component.
Okay. All right. To Colombia. Did you volunteer work in New York, New Jersey?
Yes, also, of course. What? I'm a volunteer at We NYC, the program for women in business from the city of New York.
Yes.
I also volunteer with Women.NYC, the program from the city of New York, from the Economic Development Corporation to improve New York as an environment for women in tech and sciences. And I also volunteer with the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center as a mentor, an entrepreneurial mentor for business owners all over the U.S.
Well, you're a very busy person.
Or very committed. No, I don't know.
What age group do you communicate with the women in technology?
I think all ages, because
all ages?
I do things with younger generations, like with the teenagers and young adults, because I really want to be a role model for them. I want to share my experience, my learnings. But at the same time, with the WeNYC workshops that I lead on digital transformation, the majority are adults who are business owners and who are switching careers. So I volunteer with younger ones, but also with women who are just switching careers at the age of 40, 50, 60 years.
So you're not really working with the individuals straight out of college or out of high school?
Not from the high school or the educational system, but more from the ecosystems, the communities of developers, for example, and the incubators.
The incubators?
Incubators, yes.
So what is your business exactly?
My business is Busy Partners Tech, and there we develop software. We do from websites to applications and platforms. Basically, founders contract our company for us to build their software, help them to make decisions around the technology that they should use on that. And we go the long term with them to see their businesses grow and succeed. Just by coincidence, 100% of our current client companies are founded by women.
Really?
Just by coincidence. Yes, at this moment, it is the case.
Okay. It states, Women in Tech Statistics, Gender Diversity in Tech 2024 by Lisa Zulo, states that Deloitte reports that the large global technology firm, the average overall female representation sits at 33% in 2022. That's up 2% points from 2019. That means today the ratio of men to women in technology is about 3-1 as of May 27, 2022. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that one of the reasons why having more diversity in technology is important is because technologies like artificial intelligence are built by different people, and the developers should be aware of avoiding biases on what they are building as products. So if there are no diversity, those biases could be invisible for the developers. Sometimes you realize the bias when that's related with your own characteristics.
Yes.
Let's say, for example, that my name ends in an O, Rosario, and many systems recognize or filters names by the end letter. And as Rosario ends in an O, sometimes for example, advertising of things like those in technology, I'm targeted as a male.
Really?
So yeah, that's true. And I have the proofs and everything. And sometimes also because of my accent, the system is not understanding my accent. So that's just a representation that we should have more Latinas with accent building those technologies to ensure that those technologies are understanding the accent.
Right.
But same thing happens with any type of biases in the world. So we need diversity in background, in gender, in age when building technologies.
Yes.
That's why.
Yes. Now, some of the challenges include gender bias, lack of representation, and a lack of access to leadership opportunities. Research shows that women are unrepresented in tech fields, with many women struggling to advance to higher position in their careers due to biases in the industry. What do you think about that?
That's completely true. I have an anecdote that is related with those biases. When I arrived, many times when I arrived with other of my business partners, who is an American, a Native American guy, people was talking to him as if he is the technical guy or the CEO of the company and not to me. And sometimes also when I use pink nails, and that's a thing that I do with intention, people think like I cannot be a nerd person or an intellectual person.
Wow.
Or a developer, because that's usually a stereotype as a non-transcendental, not smart or light woman.
Right.
So those biases, I am always trying to break them, because that's the only way to ensure that the younger generations arriving could feel themselves comfortable being themselves.
So how do you get the younger Hispanic women to overcome those biases?
I personally do it with in two ways. First one, speaking loud at events. I'm a keynote speaker at many events, because that helps them to see me, to ask me things, and to approach me in a way that is like this person is real, and I can touch that person as a human, not as a figure of marketing. And I think that's important.
Yes.
But the second one, volunteering time as a mentor, or allocating some time. I cannot allocate hundreds of hours, but at least I allocate some for younger ones who are or young entrepreneurs in technology who are women or who are Latinas, because talking and supporting them, and also having those conversations that they cannot have in public because they feel that like somebody will judge them. So when and in my personal story, I already feel that I arrived to a point where I can say things and people will respect that because they already saw that I did things.
Right.
But for the younger ones, when they are just starting, those statements or those phrases or those questions are not necessarily easy for them to ask.
Right. Right. The industry that has the most females is healthcare and care services. The following healthcare and care services is 65%, share of female workers 65%, education 54%, consumer services 52%, government and public sector at 50%. Technology doesn't fall into that group. How can you encourage women, especially Spanish women, to come over and be involved with technology?
Well, that has many points of work. The first one is educational system, because of course there are many studies showing that at the when women are teenagers, it's difficult for them to stay in the science and tech areas. I imagine because of the stereotypes of the society or whatever. But the first point where we need to be there for the girls, for the younger ones, for the Latinas, and I think for any group that is underrepresented on their environment, is stay in science and technology when you are in the school, because that will give you the basis for the next stage. The second thing is supporting them in the university or the technical studies stage. I think the first job, the first employment moment is very important for that. And the last one is opening doors for them when you are already inside of the technology world. So if I am in the technology world, I should be sure that I'm not just sitting at some key tables, but also inviting other Latinas, other women, other underrepresented groups into those tables.
Yes.
And that's a difficult cultural thing, because sometimes people feel like if I'm bringing other people to my table, maybe I will lose the seat that was difficult for me to acquire. But the reality is that when you are already in the table, people will respect the others that you are bringing to the table.
Yes. Yes. Now, it said fewer computer science degrees, a low retention rate, pragmatic culture, and a lack of representation is the reason why you have few female programmers. All contribute to the gap. Having an equitable gender balance is important for any organization. Why you feel we have so many few programmers?
First thing is people feel like programming is something very complex, but the reality is not. It's not that complex. Of course, it requires effort, but it has some benefits. Like, for example, you can work remote, and for example, a specific example, younger or women who wants to be a mom, for example, can be a developer and work from home while raising the kid, instead of just going to the work and leaving the kid, because those spaces are things that are also stopping some women to, like, women feel like I can be one thing or the other, but the reality is some industries like software development allow the women to be both things at the same time if they want. We have a lot of free tools to start learning code. So that's also an opportunity, because if you don't have the resources to train yourself in an academy or something like that, there are enough free tools to start learning and coding and developing products without the need of having resources, just a computer, internet access, and the volunteer to do it.
Yes. Have you ever heard of Girls in Tech?
Yes.
Girls in Tech.
I attended one event from them in Florida, like I don't know, like 7 years ago.
Really?
Yes, Girls in Tech is doing a phenomenal work. Yes.
How was it? Explain Girls in Tech.
Well, Girls in Tech, I think, is what is important for people to learn from them is an organization that is consistently working to involve and to have more women, more girls testing and trying technology, from the simpler applications and things to bringing them the role models, the conversations around technology that they should have to stay in technology and science and tech. They do events. They have the tools, the podcast. I don't know if the podcast is still available, but they did podcasts and conferences. I was at one of their workshops in Florida, talking to younger generations, to the girls, about what is to be a woman in technology and what it requires.
Wow. How long was that seminar? How long is it? 3 days, 4 days?
No, it was like 1 day.
Really?
And I attended. Yes, because sometimes, the majority of the times when you are talking of girls, they need to be at the school. So they can use only Saturday or something. This was a Saturday morning workshop.
Okay.
To be sure that they are not losing the school time.
Right. The education is important.
Yeah, no, it's like you can't do one thing and destroy the other one. We need the educational system working and also adding these components that could support them to stay on the track of science, technology, and of course, software development.
It's research from the Fawcett Society in November 2023 found that nearly a quarter of women in tech have reported sexism in the workplace. The studies, don't be laughing. The study shed light on a toxic tech bro culture across the industry. They led women to feel marginalized and targeted with offensive banter. What do you think?
I love, because I know that that's super real. Sometimes I have many stories, and I know every woman in tech who is hearing has their own stories, but I really think that it happens. It still happens. Sometimes even the Ivy League tag, if I don't have it, it's like, no, you don't have it. You are not a Stanford person, or you are not an MIT graduate. So I really think that every time I'm presenting in public, or I'm speaking at an event, I'm trying to show that, of course, some of those already had the opportunities, and that's why they arrived to create the super big companies and so forth. But that doesn't mean that you cannot make it from other backgrounds. And we need to create a better, let's say, storytelling on the entrepreneurial world of technology, to show younger entrepreneurs that you can be whatever you want if you work, you do your thing, you dream your dreams. Because to create a big company, you need to dream big, and you need to learn how to ask support. And that's why communities like Latinas in Tech, like Founder Institute, like all these organizations are important, because they are supporting institutions that can give free support, free advice, and free mentoring time for those entrepreneurs who are not necessarily going through the typical or the stereotypical path.
Right.
I'm not an Ivy League student. I'm a woman. I'm in tech. I'm not an engineer by background. I learned English as an adult. So it's completely possible to do it, but you need to do your task. Well, you need to create the network. There is a phrase that I love. It says, let's say, if I remember that right, it says something like, talent is everywhere, but opportunities are not.
Right.
So basically, we need to create the opportunities where they are not.
Now, you mentioned storytelling. If you had to tell a story to the young girl, how would it go?
I think the first thing in that story will be like, make her dream big. See a role model, like a top-notch astronaut, or top-notch biomechanical engineer, for example, and tell the story of how that woman arrived there, how she overcome some things, how she learned to learn, because lifelong learning is the only way to arrive to those levels. And I think that storytelling should have the inspirational component.
Oh, okay, tell a story.
I should tell it? Okay.
Go ahead.
There was a girl who was raised and born in the Pacific coast of Colombia. And she was coming from a family that was living near the Pacific Ocean. Her parents were working in the fishing industry. And one day she was seeing the television, and she saw a program showing how NASA was developing a program. And there was a Colombian, Argentinian woman who was Adriana Ocampo, and she was in charge of the Juno mission, the mission to land on Jupiter. So this girl started to dream, started to see a possible future. And then the next day she went to the school. And when she was in the school and the math class happened, she finally get why math was important. Because maybe one day she will be able to attend or to work at an organization like that one, in a role like that one.
Right. Okay.
And by the way, it's real that Adriana Ocampo exists, and it's real that she's leading that mission.
Really? What's her name?
Adriana Ocampo.
Wow. So
Yeah,
what? That's not a story. That's reality.
That's one of my role models. I mixed one of my role
You
models.
told a story about your role model.
I mixed it up with a girl in the Pacific coast of Colombia.
How to survive being a woman in tech? It said to survive in a minority role, in this case, the technology industry, it's important that you have confidence in your skills and ability. Not only is this a benefit for yourself, but you must show people who are biased towards your level of expertise that you are more than capable of doing what is asked of you. Basically saying, do not belittle yourself. Show who you are and perform above. That's what I got from it. What did you get from that?
I really think that to survive in the technology world as a woman, there are two important things. The first one is, or three important things. The first one is learning every day what is coming for your new ventures. Meaning that, let's say, for example, I'm building something with artificial intelligence. If I started the last October, let's say, and I am building something now, I should keep up to date, studying and learning all the things that I need for that track. And really is a lifelong learning career. That's maybe, I'm a nerd, so maybe that's one of my motivations per se. The second thing that you need to do is create your tribe. Create your tribe. Mm-hmm. Find other women, other allies in superior roles, in peer roles and younger roles, because that's the only way to really create a support network, and you will need it. And the third thing is be sure that you are creating spaces for the next ones to come. And the best way to open a space for others is deliver with excellence and consistency. If you are always delivering with excellence and consistency, people will believe when you are saying, we need to bring these other women in tech, or these other Hispanics, or these other underserved or underrepresented communities to the table, because they already saw your development, your deployment.
That was good. Can you state those three things again and say it in Spanish?
In Spanish?
Yes.
Okay. The first one is, la primera es lifelong learning, aprendizaje de por vida. Second one is create your tribe. Crea tu comunidad, tu tribu, la gente que te va a apoyar arriba, abajo, a los lados en la organización. That's very important. And the third one is ejecuta con excelencia y con consistencia. Deliver with excellence and consistency para crear credibilidad, to generate credibility.
I'm assuming that's right. I don't speak Spanish. My producer does. He's shaking his head like this, so it must be right.
That's right. That's right.
Good job.
Spanish is more complex than one or the other, but yes, here we are.
Women in tech also, how to be respected as a woman in tech. A woman in tech also need to train themselves to use more dialect language, like you stated earlier. With the language, instead of using passive language like "What do you think about doing it like this?" Women should instead use active language like "I suggest we should do it like this." Take possession of it. Don't give it to someone else. Along with that, Flynn says we need to stop apologizing in the workplace. Said they need to stop apologizing and be more aggressive. What do you think?
Well, I think the term aggressive, and I will take it from there. The term aggressive, when you are assertive, some people is considering that like being aggressive, but the reality is being assertive is something that you should be. I come from a family of very strong women. My grandmother, my mother, they are those type of women who are always saying what they think and delivering what they are promising. Mm-hmm. So I think that heritage that I received from them is part of my culture, mm-hmm. is part of my delivery. But I sometimes I see that other women in technology are not necessarily trained that way, and they are negotiating too much, or they are saying yes to everything, or they are leaving the space to others that are not necessarily the ones building the things. Google created a movement that is now independent, created by two women, Anna Sapesocini and Anna Weiner.
Mhm.
And that movement is around the I am remarkable philosophy. It means you need to be sure that you are well trained to tell your story, to share your success, to share your accomplishments, because otherwise they don't speak by themselves.
Right.
Accomplishment doesn't speak by themselves, and it's not bragging if it is based on facts. So basically, I already lead like 30 something workshops around that.
Really? That topic?
Yes,
Wow.
yes. I'm a certified trainer for the I Am Remarkable movement.
Oh, okay. All
Because
right.
that point is very important, and not everybody has a mother and a grandmother and sisters and women around them that are already self-secure enough and are transmitting that for them when they are younger.
How important do you think a mentor is?
It's super important. I really think that mentors can change a life. I had the best mentors ever when I started my career. Some of them are not anymore with us. But I really, really built my skills, my professional career on their lessons, their support, even their celebrations, because sometimes it's hard to celebrate the small wins, but mentors are there for that also. So as I really think that they were a key part of my career, that's why I allocate time being a mentor for others.
So how many
And I think that's a volunteering time that we all need to allocate.
Yes. How many mentees do you have? A lot.
Yes, I have two type of mentees. Two type of mentees. The ones that are long term.
What do you mean? Long term.
Those mentees that I am supporting since like 5-7 years ago,
okay, gotcha.
and are going with. I'm always spending on where they are, how they are delivering, if they need something that I can bring them. Some of them are already more successful than me, way more successful, and that's the best part of it. And the other type of mentorship that I do is like short term. That means they ask for one session, for example, or 2 or 3, and or they participate in our incubator, and they had mentorship. Those had mentorship like the 10 weeks of the program. The program is free for participants. Oh, okay. So that's 10 weeks working on their businesses with mentorship and training.
How many mentees do you suggest someone take on?
If it is the long term, I think having 2 or 3 is more than enough. But you can run parallel short term supports as a mentor. Those that are specific and short time, you can, for example, say for the Hispanic Heritage Month, I will accept 10 mentees, and I will allocate time for them during those 30 days. That's something that works. It's very intense, but it's like specifically driven for a purpose. Or the long term, you cannot have the work and the background and the story of them in mind if they are more than 2 or 3.
Wow. My wife works for Mary Kay. She has over 100 mentees. I'm gonna start calling her Mother Teresa.
Yeah, that's amazing.
No, it's not amazing. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. You got to be mom, sister, buddy.
Yeah, no. I could imagine. I could imagine. The world needs more good mentorship. That's a reality.
So, how important is mentoring in the tech field? That your area.
It's more than important. Oh no, that's more than important. For example, as a woman in tech, many times I have mentors who are males who are older than me, who are in the top career moment, because I need to ask them, how did you overcome this topic? Or how did you negotiate this?
Yes.
There's no other way to learn from your own story. So it's easier to have mentors who already passed those steps or those stages and can share with you their skills, also their mistakes, so you can learn from their mistakes and save a little bit of time. Also, one of the key things on mentorship in technology is how to define where to bet your bet. meaning, do I want to in this technology? Do I want to learn this? Is this something that you envision in the future, or this is like a technology that has just a hype at this moment? And the only way to have that is to have mentors who already overcome those waves of hypes and technologies that survive. And I think that's very important.
Now, the gender that they're saying is more interested in technology right now are males. Consequently, males generally develop more positive perception towards new technology and robots than females. Why is that?
I think because women used to be a little bit risk averse. So we sometimes we feel like we don't want to jump over the cliff without a parachute. So but the reality is this is starting to change. If you see, for example, there are more women creating funds or women as VC investing in women-founded technology companies. So I think that will start changing and the numbers will start changing. But of course, many times the woman is the one who is supporting a family or keeping the family bonded. So taking those risks is a little bit more tricky. And new technologies require a lot of time to train yourself, to understand the technology, to envision what the future of that technology will be. So, and in many cases, with new technologies, you don't have a market yet prepared to buy the product. So you need to work to create the market. Yeah. And that takes a little bit more of time or businesses that already have the market created.
What is the average female representation in tech? What percentage of women are in tech? Currently, women make up about 35% of the tech workforce. This is a significant improvement from the early 2000s when women only made up 9%. What is contributing to the increase in women being involved in tech?
I think the movement of organizations and communities like Women in Tech, Women Tech Makers by Google, the community of AWS, all those who are trying to have more women because they realize that we need this diversity. That's one of the factors. And the second factor, of course, is more women will bring more women. Yes. So the ones who are raising the ceiling are finding spaces for other women who are younger and are finding ways to help them bring up in the organizations. Yes. I think I'm not the only one who found how difficult it was in 2013. So I saw that some others need the support to arrive, to stay, and to thrive.
So you started your business in 2013?
No, I started the business I started my first business before that, but in 2013 is when I entered the technology world by being the CEO for Sensera Group.
Oh, okay.
So I was in finance before, and in finance, I never felt that, even when it's a male's world, is very masculine world. I never found myself like alone. You know, it was. But when I moved to technology itself, in that organization, it was a 60 people more or less organization. I don't remember. I think, let's say 50 people.
Okay.
All over the organization, and there were only 3 women when I entered the organization. So it was a big data and artificial company, and 2013. So it was early moment, and when I entered, I was like, I can't believe this is the situation, and I started bringing more women, and I started also to find ways to convert myself into a technical person because I saw that gap, and it was very frustrating. At the end, since then, I think I was always finding ways to engage more women, and I have phenomenal friends who are also doing the same thing. Wow. On their own environment. So I think it's a movement.
So when did you start your business?
I started Business Creative Partners, my first business in Colombia, in 2009. And then I started VR Americas, that was then converted into the technology companies in February 2016.
Okay.
That was a a gap between one and the other one. The Colombian company was the consulting company, and then I realized that I love to build product, so we moved to build technology products.
And what company do you have now?
I have three brands: XR Americas, BC Partners Tech, and Brooklyn to Bogota Digital Transformation Community.
And when did all those three start?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me. XR Americas, 2015.
Okay.
BC Partners Tech, 2016, I think so also. And the third one, Brooklyn to Bogota, started in the pandemic, October 2020. Just in the middle of the pandemic, finding ways to support business owners.
How did you survive the pandemic?
Because we decided to create something to support small business owners. Life was generous with us, so we had home, we had food, the basics. So we decided to stop selling and start giving back that moment. So 2020, the end of 2020 and the majority of 2021, we concentrated like 90% of our effort on supporting small businesses for free to ensure that they were not passing away, because small businesses are the backbone of the economy.
Right. 90%? You only had 10% to yourself?
To the other businesses, yes.
Wow. Oh, to all three businesses?
Yes, all three businesses.
All right.
At that moment, we allocated 90% of their working time for Brooklyn to Bogota Digital Transformation Community. With everything life was giving us, it's impossible that we will leave some companies pass away. If we can help them, we are here to do it. We raised the hand, we call our friends who are entrepreneurs, and they allocated time for volunteering also with us as mentors.
And during pandemics?
During the pandemic.
Wow.
That was beautiful, yes, incredible.
Yeah, there was. With all the mess that was going on, the hecticness that was going on, it was good you got everybody together like that. McKinsey found that only 32% of entry-level technology hardware roles are held by women, and 43% of entry-level software roles are held by women. And the numbers decrease as you climb the ladder, with women representing only 17% of hardware and 30% of software roles at the senior vice president level. Why is that? Because they leave at a certain level, or because it's a man-dominated profession where they can't progress up?
I think sometimes they leave because some of them decide to have kids and maybe are not staying. But I don't think that's the problem. The real problem is that sometimes we are not asking for what we want. There are studies showing that men apply to a job if they feel that they match around 30% of the, or between 30 and some other studies are saying 60% of the requirements, while women are only applying when they feel that they match 100%. Wow. So we are missing a lot of opportunities just because we are too perfectionists. We are asking ourselves for more, and sometimes basically that means we are not even competing. So we are losing by, how is the name for that in sports? We are losing just because we are not attending the competence.
Not attending or not competitive.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to say 10 things to you, and I want you to respond to them. The 10 things is going to relate basically tips for how to succeed as a woman in tech. And these 10 things coming from Woman in Tech magazine. First one is never stop learning.
That's a must. And also enjoy learning. I love learning. And I will underline there that today is the best moment of the history to learn things. What is happening in every field is amazing. Maybe we feel that like all the news things are not showing us the best world, mm-hmm. but we are living at one of the best moments of the humanity. We have less health issues. We have less learning problems. But also we have a lot of free tools to learn. So never stop learning. Keep learning. Enjoy learning.
Next, networking.
Networking. I really think that many times opportunities are only arriving because other people is mentioning your name mm-hmm. in the correct place. So networking is very important, but never mixed or never never misunderstand networking, crossing that with transactional relationships. Because networking is creating strong relations that are not transactional.
Right.
Transactional happens later just because that relation creates some value for everybody, but that's an important thing.
Yes, that's true. Next, show off your accomplishments.
100%. They doesn't speak by themselves, and I told you is not bragging if it is based on facts. So show up. Everything that you are accomplishing, you need to show. And also, you know why? Because around 70 to 90% of the job search happen on internet. So if you are not showing up your accomplishments over the internet, nobody will find you.
That's true.
That's important. That's Post your accomplishments.
Next, don't go it alone. Mentoring can help.
Completely. It's too hard. Being an entrepreneur is fascinating. Being a person in tech is also fascinating, but doing it alone is very hard. And some people is not asking for mentorship because they feel like maybe they don't deserve that.
Wow.
But for younger people, you can never imagine how many good mentors are ready to support your career.
Yes. Next, ask for feedback and take criticism as a positive.
Yes, that's a phenomenal one. You know, I already told you that I was born and raised by a strong lineage of women.
Yes.
But my mother is always my best friend, but also my best critic. She is always giving me the hardest feedback because that's how she prepared myself when I was a kid to be strong. Because if you have a good critic who also likes you, loves you, cares about you, that critic will make you stronger before you are going to the street,
right?
Before you are going to the market,
right?
So, and that's a very important thing to creating the cultures of the organization. There is a very, very good book that I recommend on that. The name is Radical Candor. And yours?
It's called, this is a very good book she recommend.
I love that. That's a very good one.
Okay, the next one is keep a good work-life balance and don't burn out.
Well, there I have my own perspective, because I really think that work-life balance is something that is creating frustrations for many people. The reality is, if you love what you do, that becomes part of your life. Mm-hmm. So you don't need to select my personal life or my career, because everything becomes one. Yes. And the balance becomes from internally. I don't know how to express that, but of course, burning out is very easy in a world like today's world.
Yes.
And that's something you need to be sure that you are taking time for yourself to eat well. I have a note here near my desktop. It says, snack is not a meal, nap is not a sleep. And I have it here because as entrepreneurs, we need to remember that's real, that we need to eat well, we need to rest well. But work balance, when you are finding an environment, a culture, organizational culture, and a topic that you love, you don't need to decide one or the other. You just build a life around that.
I think that's based up on age as well, because my daughter, entrepreneur, she's all over the place. I mean, I'm surprised that she can sit down and get rest. She's working on her business, and she's working on a doctorate degree in veterinarian, and then she's dealing with the dogs, and then she got to have a personal life, and that's too much for a 26, 27-year-old. Even though she graduate in May, she'll be done. But she don't have a work-life balance. I think it's based on, she has the energy to keep going. At what age did that stop?
I'm not a good advisor on that, because I started my career very early. At that age, I was already I think at age of 26, I was chief of staff for the Colombian First Lady, and I was working, not as an entrepreneur. But I really think that I never regret working as I work, because I really think that everything that I was doing is very much connected with my passion and with my vision of the work that I want to build. So I'm not a good advisor for your daughter.
Okay, the next one. Attend industry events.
And also, I will add something there. Attending industry events is very important to create relations, to meet the leaders of the industry, but also when you are ready, apply to be a speaker, because that's the only way to start first, like showing up and creating a name for yourself.
Yes.
But also it's a way to test your assumptions. If you are applying with a topic that is where you are concentrated, but that topic is not interest, you should also check, well, why this topic is not yet. Maybe I can take that as a feedback that I can process into something else.
Yes.
So apply to speak at the key events of your industry.
Next, communicate with your colleagues and boss.
Well, that's something really cool, and I will let you know. I really think that communication is something that we take for granted.
Yes.
And it's not. Communication is one of the hardest things in the world, but that's one of the real sense of communication, the creation of relations, and the understanding of the other because of the words that the person is using, and the non-verbal language also is part of the communication. Those are superpowers for humans, because that's one of the most difficult things to replace with computing, with artificial intelligence. So communication is not just a good to have, is a superpower that if organizations can increase and improve, they will win for sure.
Yes. Next, set personal goals.
A key thing, if you don't have your personal goals, your dreams, you will never reach them. If you don't know where you want to go, you will never know if what you are doing makes sense or not. I have my personal dreams here in my also in front of my desktop, because when you are able to dream, I will say, with names, colors, sizes, specifics, where you can envision that dream, it will be more feasible that you will reach it. So I will give paint numbers, bring numbers to your dreams, because and dates to your dreams, because that's the only way to accomplish them.
Last one, immerse yourself in the tech industry wherever you can.
Completely. First thing is because it's fascinating what is happening, but the second thing, because hands-on testing of the technologies is the only way to understand how that really works.
Yes.
So break everything, test, try, break the system. It will never be a problem, but will give you a lot of tools to define where you want to go next.
Yes. Well, thank you, Rosario, for coming on my show as we close this out. It's very important that as we continue to advance in the tech community, that we have diversity. It not only applies to Hispanics in tech, it applies to African Americans, female in tech too.
Completely.
We have a low volume of female, African American female in technology. We have a little bit more Hispanics that we do African Americans. So I encourage the African American individuals to get into a field that is taking off. And one of the big things is robotics. So you need to be in that tech field to pick this up. Okay, Rosario, what you got to say going out to my audience?
I want to thank you for what you do. I want to recommend your audience to see the podcast with your daughters, because I really think that also shows a beautiful environment of building.
Thank you.
And leadership. No, I really love that when I saw it before this conversation. But also, I will say, dream big, and work hard to make your dream a reality. Because when you build a dream, with everything, you will require people, so they will have fun down the road, and you will impact a community that is maybe your community. So work for that and ask for support. Mentorship is a key tool.
Yes. Now, what do you want to say to Latin America and the people in Colombia in Spanish?
I will say, me siento orgullosa y feliz de lo que mi país me ha dado y espero ver más colombianas construyendo tecnología para construir un mejor mundo y un mejor país, por supuesto. I want to see more Colombian women using tech, building tech to improve Colombian and world environments.
I understood what you said.
That's great. My Spanish is very good.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Rosario. I had a good time.
Thank you very much.
Purchase this book. And also, going out, subscribe to me. Thank you. Appreciate you. And goodbye.